Has dating and approaching women got harder? It seems like a lot of guys really struggle, and I'm not sure with if it's because of their cultural or social conditioning or if this has always been the way it is.
I think it has gotten more difficult because it's not a skill set that's being taught, one. And two, there's a bit of a stigma around it. I mean, your great great grandfather and my great great grandfather, they probably met our great great grandmother by approaching her. Granted, you could make an argument that they grew up in a similar social circle, cities were smaller, so they stumbled upon each other by accident. But I think being able to introduce yourself to a member of the human species and see if there is a connection or see if I can make a connection happen, if there's compatibility, is a very, very normal thing. But it's a skill set that hasn't been taught. That's really all it is.
I think a lot of it has to do with intimidation. Guys freak themselves out. I was in the grocery store in the vegetable aisle the other day, and there was an attractive woman, and I said something. I don't even know what I said. I said something, but it wasn't scary. I don't understand why it's scary for guys. I think they put women on pedestals they don't belong, and they freak out when they see a beautiful woman. It's like, just say something funny, say something silly, ask her a question. Hey, what's the difference between that zucchini and that zucchini? Like, do something.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why guys struggle, but I know they do, and that's why this is so important we talk about.
I get it though. I completely understand why guys struggle. And by the way, that's good. That's called what we call that's an opinion opener, where you just ask, what do you think about this or that? There's so many different types of openers. The opener in and of itself doesn't matter. But it is scary because the reason we are afraid of it is because there's something called approach anxiety. Getting rejected is one of the deepest fears we as human beings have. I'm not a biologist, I'm not an anthropologist, but what I've read so far is over the years is that we as human beings existed in tribes of 2 to 300,000 people, 2 to 300 people around 2 to 300,000 years ago ish. Getting rejected from the tribe would mean almost certain death. If we would act too far outside of the socially accepted norms, we'd be sent into exile. Or we'd get killed by the tribal leader, the so-called alpha male, and he'd hit us in the head with a brick in the middle of the night. But if we're being sent into exile, we would lose protection from other men. We'd lose the ability to go hunt with other men. We'd get attacked by other tribes, or at the very least, we'd lose the ability to pass on our genes to other female members of the tribe. So we deeply care about the approval of other people because it's for survival reasons. So it's ingrained in us. It's actually quite normal to fear. Let's take it to an extreme. People who don't care about the opinion of other people at all, they act in manners that aren't conducive to a harmonious societal co-living environment. So there is a balance. Now, most men, they care a little bit too much, where it hinders their own free self-expression. And they're not able to introduce themselves. And I think I always use the word, you got to be able to introduce yourself respectfully and effectively.